Dear children, come back to online classes. Today in geography we are going to see the remaining part of chapter 3. First topic today is the northern plain. The northern plain has been formed by interplay of three major rivers system, that is the Indus, the Ganga and the Brahmaputra, along with their tributaries. Tributaries here means a small river that flow into a large rivers. This plain is formed of alluvial soil. The deposition of alluvium is a vast plain lying at the foothills of the Himalaya over millions of years formed this fertile plain. It spreads over an area of 7 lakh square kilometer. The plain being about 2400 km long and 240 to 320 km broad is a densely populated physiographic division. So the northern plains are densely populated with a rich soil cover combined with adequate water supply and favorable climate. It is agriculturally a productive part of India. The rivers coming from northern mountain are involved in depositional work. In the lower course, due to a gentle slope, the velocity of the river decreases, which result in the formation of riverine island. So whichever the rivers which are coming from northern mountains are involved in depositional work. So in the lower course, due to gentle slope, the speed of the river decreases. That results in the formation of riverine island. What is riverine island? A riverine island is a land mass formed within a river. The river in their lower course split into numerous channels due to the deposition of silt. These channels are known as distributaries. And the next is the northern plain is broadly divided into three sections. That is the western part of the northern plain, that is referred to as Punjab plains, formed by Indus and its tributaries. The larger part of this plain lies in Pakistan. The Indus and its tributaries, the Jhelum, the Chenab, the Ravi, the Beas and the Satluj originate in the Himalaya. This section of the plain is dominated by Doabs. Doab, it is made up of two words, that is do meaning two and ab meaning water. Doabs means land between two rivers. So let us see in the map now. Here which you are seeing in Pakistan, the tributaries of Indus, Jhelum, Ravi, Satluj. This section of the plain is dominated by Doabs. The Ganga plain extends between Ghaggar and Tista river. It is spread over the states of North India, Haryana, Delhi, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, partly Jharkhand and West Bengal to its east. Particularly in Assam lies the Brahmaputra plain. The northern plains are generally described as flat land with no variation in its relief. Actually, it is not true. This vast plain is also having a diverse relief features. That means there are some variations in this plain. According to the variation in relief features, the northern plains can be divided into four regions. The rivers, after descending from the mountains, deposit pebbles. Pebbles means small rounded stones in a narrow belt of about 8 to 16 km in width, lying parallel to the slopes of the Shivalik. It is known as Bhabar. All the streams disappear in this Babar belt. South of this belt, the streams of rivers re-emerge and create a wet, swampy and marshy region. A swamp is a place where the plants that make up the area covered in water are primarily woody plant or trees. And a marsh on the other hand is defined as having no woody plant. This is known as terai. This was a thickly forested region full of wildlife. The forests have been cleared to create agricultural land and to settle migrants from Pakistan after partition. The largest part of the northern plain is formed of older alluvium. It lies above the floodplains of the rivers and present a terrace-like feature. This part is known as Bhangar. The soil in this region contains calcareous deposit, that is locally we call it as a kankad. The newer younger deposits of the floodplains are called khadar. They are renewed almost every year and so are fertile, thus ideal for intensive agriculture. Peninsular Plateau. The Peninsular Plateau is a tableland composed of the old crystalline, igneous and metamorphic rocks. It was formed due to breaking and drifting of Gondwana land and thus making it a part of oldest landmass. So let me explain you about the Gondwana land. The oldest landmass, the Peninsular Plateau, was a part of the Gondwana land. The Gondwana land included India, Australia, South Africa, South America and Antarctica as one single landmass. The conventional current split the current into number of pieces, thus leading to the drifting of Indian Australian plate after being separated from the Gondwana land towards the north. The Peninsular Plateau constitutes one of the ancient landmasses on the Earth's surface. It was supposed to be one of the most stable and land blocks. The plateau has broad and shallow valleys and rounded hills. This plateau consists of two broad divisions, namely the Central Highland and the Deccan Plateau. The part of Peninsular Plateau lying to the north of Narmada River, covering a major area of the Malwa Plateau, is known as the Central Highlands. The Vindhya Range is bounded by the Satpura Range on the south and the Aravallis on the northwest. The further westward extension gradually merges with the sandy and rocky desert of Rajasthan. The flow of the river draining this region, namely the Chambal, the Sindh, the Betwa and the Ken, is from southwest to northeast, thus indicating the slope. Now let us see in the map. This plateau consists of two broad divisions, namely the Central Highland and the Deccan Plateau. As you are seeing in the map, the Deccan Plateau, the part of the Peninsular Plateau lying to the north of the Narmada River. You are seeing the Narmada River also here. North of the Narmada River, covering a major area of the Malwa Plateau, is known as the Central Highland. You are seeing here also the Malwa Plateau above the Vindhya Range. The Vindhya Range is bounded by the Central Highlands on the south and the Aravallis on the northwest. The further westward extension gradually merges with the sandy and rocky desert of Rajasthan. So here you can see the area Great Indian Desert, that is the area of Rajasthan. The flow of the river draining this region is namely Chambal. Chambal also you are seeing here. Chambal, the Sindh and the Betwa and Ken is from southwest to northeast, thus indicating the slope. The central highland are wider in the west but narrow in the east. The eastward extension of this plateau are locally known as the Bundelkhand and Baghelkhand. The Chota Nagpur plateau marks the further eastward extension drained by the Damodar river. Then next, the Deccan Plateau is a triangular landmass. The Deccan Plateau is a triangular landmass that lies to the south of river Narmada. Here you can see the Deccan Plateau. The Satpura range flanks its broad base in the north, while the Mahadev, the Kaimur Hill and the Mekal range form its eastward extension. The Deccan Plateau is higher in the west and slopes gently eastwards. An extension of plateau is also visible in the northeast. Locally known as Meghalaya Karbi Anglong Plateau, it is separated by fault from Chota Nagpur Plateau. Three prominent hill ranges from the west to east are Garo, Kashi, Jaintia hills. Then comes the Western Ghat. On the west side you can see Western Ghats, and the eastern side you can see Eastern Ghats mark the western and the eastern edges of the Deccan Plateau respectively. Western Ghats lie parallel to the western coast. The Western Ghats are higher than the Eastern Ghats. Their average elevation is 900 to 1600 meters as against 600 meters of the Eastern Ghat. The Eastern Ghats stretch from Mahanadi Valley to Nilgiri hills. As you can see the Mahanadi river valley, Mahanadi Valley to the Nilgiris in the south. The Eastern Ghats are discontinuous and irregular and dissected by rivers draining into the Bay of Bengal. The height of the Western Ghats increases from north to south. The highest peak of the Western Ghat is Anaimudi, 2695 meters, and the highest peak on the Eastern Ghat is Mahendragiri, which is 1501 meters. And one of the feature of the peninsular plateau is that it is black soil area known as Deccan Trap. Now the Aravalli Hills lie on the western and northwestern margin of the peninsular plateau. These are highly eroded hills and are found as broken hills. They extend from Gujarat to Delhi in a southwest northeast direction. Now let us come to the Great Indian Desert. Here is the Great Indian Desert. The Indian Desert lies towards the western margin of the Aravalli Hills. It is an undulating sandy plains covered with sand dunes. A dune is a hill of sand formed by wind in desert. This region receives very low rainfall below 150 mm per year. It has arid climate with low vegetation cover. Streams appear during the rainy season. Soon after they disappear into the sand as they do not have enough water to reach the sea. Luni is the only large river in this region. Now come to the coastal area, coastal plains. The peninsular plateau is flanked by stretch of narrow coastal strips running along the Arabian Sea. Here you are seeing Arabian Sea on the west and Bay of Bengal in the east. The western coast is sandwiched between the Western Ghat and the Arabian Sea is a narrow plain. It consists of three sections. That is, the northern part of the coast is called Konkan coast. Here you are seeing that Konkan, Mumbai to Goa. The central stretch is called the Kannad plain. It is not written here. The central stretch is called Kannad plain, while the southern stretch is referred to as Malabar coast. It is given here. The southern stretch is referred to as the Malabar coast. The plains along the Bay of Bengal are wide and level. In the northern part, it is referred to as Northern Sirkar. Here you are seeing near Mahendragiri, Northern Sirkar is given. While the southern part is known as Coromandel coast. Here you can see Coromandel coast in the map. Large rivers such as Mahanadi, you can see Godavari, the Krishna and the Kaveri have formed extensive delta on this coast. Lake Chilika. Chilika Lake is an important feature along the eastern coast. Now let us come to the island region. Beside the country as having also two groups of island, that is Lakshadweep Island group lying close to Malabar coast of Kerala. This group of island is composed of small coral island. Earlier they are known as Lakshadweep, Miniko and Amandeep. In 1973 they were named as Lakshadweep. It covers small area of 32 square kilometers. Kavarati Island is the administrative headquarters of Lakshadweep. This island group has great diversity of flora and fauna. The Piti Island, which is uninhabited, has a bird sanctuary. Now you can see the elongated chain of island located in the Bay of Bengal, extending from north to south. This is Andaman Nicobar Island. They are bigger in size and are more numerous and scattered. The entire group of island is divided into two broad categories. The Andaman in the north and Nicobar in the south. It is believed that these islands are an elevated portion of submarine mountains. These islands groups are of great strategic importance for the country because there is great diversity of flora and fauna in this group of island too. These islands lie close to equator and experience equatorial climate and has a thick forest area. About corals, it is given here that coral polyps are short-lived microscopic organisms which lives in colonies. They flourish in shallow, mud-free and warm waters. They secrete calcium carbonate. The coral secretion and their skeletons from coral deposits in the form of reefs. They are mainly of three kinds, that is barrier reef, fringing reef and atolls. The Great Barrier Reef of Australia is a good example of first kind of coral reef. Atolls are circular or horseshoe shaped coral reefs. Now let us see the we have studied about different physiographic divisions in this chapter. Now let us see the unique feature of each region. Now the mountains are the major sources of water and forest wealth. The northern plains are granaries of the country. They provide the base for early civilization. The plateau is a storehouse of minerals which has played a crucial role in the industrialization of the country. The coastal region and island group provide sites for fishing and port activities. Thus, the diverse physical features of the land have immense future possibilities of development.